But just in general, let's talk about the flashbacks. Did you like the use of it? Do we want to see? Yeah. We're going to see more of it.
It was interesting because, you know, you do think about this when you're in year 5 of a TV show to suddenly start using flashbacks when it's just not part of the show's language.
Right.
It's a notable thing to do. I did like it. I don't think it could become like all the time. I don't think it should be lost all of a sudden where it's like this is structurally part of the show. But as a little glimpse and like giving you a little backstory, a little idea of where, you know, in this case Cersei, where this character came from, what she was, I did think it was cool. You know, look, just as the same way they can't start introducing a million new characters at this point because there's so much to cover, you couldn't do a million flashbacks.
You couldn't do a million flashbacks. I think that this served a very specific story purpose because otherwise you would just have to tell the story of like, remember when I was a little kid and I went to see the Lady in the Woods and this is what she said to me? I don't think that's as effective as seeing it happen to this little child.
No, and even last year, I mean, was it last year? I believe it was, when it wasn't quite the same, but, you know, there was sort of that dream trippy brand sequence that used footage from the pilot, I think, with Ned and stuff, and even that was very effective as far as like looking back at what things were, how things had changed for these characters, both physically and just their lives. So yeah, when you use it in that sort of way, I think it can be very powerful. And because we talked about Cersei, it's interesting because Cersei, you know, is such a harsh woman, and those flashbacks did reiterate she's always been like that. You know, she was nasty, but at the same time, she's not 100% like, she's not like her Joffrey. She, like, you see there's some damage in there. You see like sort of some of her own pain.
Right.
So, you know, even if you were a cruel little girl, still being told that prophecy is like you still have some idea of where she's coming from. You know,
absolutely.
The idea that she has desperately been trying to fight that off,
and that she's been desperate to protect her children from day one, which maybe even reveals a little bit about why she is such a mother lion, where the only place that, and it's interesting because
mother lion almost sounded like mother effer. Yeah, for words. Well, she is such a mother lion.
She is both.
Yeah.
You know, she like the thing is like
and brother
and
and cousin.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Well, anyway, it's interesting because another person could have gone the other way and decided just not to love their kids.
Right.
But she decided to fight for them, which is actually endears us to her. I think a little. It endears me to her a little bit.
At least gives you an angle on her where she has love in her. Like Joffrey didn't seem to have love for anyone or anything, including her. You know, so at least you see like, okay, we understand her as a character, even if we're rooting against her. You know, we don't want her to win, but you can see where she's coming from a certain perspective, or at least in parts of her life.
And I kind of feel like that each of these flashbacks will be significant. Like I think that we should watch them very carefully because I think that they're all going to be hinting at very significant themes or elements of the story. You know, like they're not going to be used just as a tool because it's easier to do it with a flashback.
There's going to be that one where Tyrion's like, spring break! And he's just like drinking.
And that's the best one.
Yeah. It's usually the last 10 seconds. That's going to be it. But the rest are going to be very...
The rest are going to be very significant. Yes. That one's very significant. I don't know what you're talking about. This is Game of Drinks.
Game of Drinks.
We request that you drink responsibly.
Yes.